Most characters get corrupted. It happens to them, slowly, while they're looking somewhere else. Canute is not one of them. Canute looked directly at the gentlest part of himself, the part that believed every person was worth saving, and made a decision about it. He didn't lose that person, he banished him. And to understand why, you have to accept something uncomfortable. He was probably right to. When we meet him, Canute is almost nothing. A timid prince, devout, sheltered, mistaken for a woman, carried through the world by other people's protection. He prays. He believes in a loving God and a paradise waiting somewhere past all this violence. He is, in the most literal sense, a passenger in his own story, and it's easy to mistake that for weakness. The story doesn't. What Canute has at the beginning is something almost nobody in Vinland Saga has: an intact belief that the world could be good and that people are worth saving. Then a drunk priest explains love to him, not as comfort, as a demolition. Willibald, a man who has already given up on the version of God the church sells, tells him that love as he understands it, the gentle and unearned kind, cannot exist in the world as it is, that the God he prays to has not built paradise and is not going to. And then the man who said it dies in front of him, which makes the argument impossible to walk away from. Most stories would use that moment to break a character. Vinland Saga uses it to hand him a job, because Canute draws a conclusion from it that almost nobody draws. If God will not build paradise, then someone has to, and the only person in reach is him. Watch what he actually does after that, because the transformation is more surgical than people give it credit for. He doesn't stop believing in paradise. That's the thing. The goal never changes. A world without suffering, a place where people don't have to die, like his father's men died, like Thor's died. Canute wants the same thing at the end that he wanted at the beginning. What changes is the mechanism. Faith gets replaced with control. If prayer won't produce paradise, power will. And once you've made that swap, everything else follows with terrible logic. Violence becomes acceptable when it's necessary, and necessity is something you get to define. People become pieces. Loyalty becomes a resource. Calculation replaces conscience, not because conscience is wrong, but because conscience is slow, and paradise has a body count that grows every year you delay. He overcomes his fear completely. The timid prince is gone within a handful of chapters, and the man who replaces him is genuinely capable, genuinely effective, genuinely the most competent person in the story. But look at the price on the receipt. He overcomes fear at the cost of humility. He accepts responsibility, enormous, total responsibility, and in the same motion decides that he is the one who gets to decide who suffers for it. He rejects the naivety of his faith, and then quietly adopts something almost identical in shape, an absolute, near divine view of his own kingship. He stopped believing God would fix it and became the thing he stopped believing in. That's not a man losing his religion. That's a man taking the job. Now the beat that makes Canute tragic rather than merely corrupted. Corruption, in most stories, is unconscious. The character drifts, rationalizes, and wakes up one day as something they wouldn't have recognized. The tragedy is the blindness. Canute isn't blind. That's the horror of him. He knows the gentle version of himself still exists. He can feel it, He knows that the boy who prayed, who believed everyone was worth saving, is still in there and still capable of speaking. And he makes a decision about him, not a drift, a decision. He treats his own humanity as an internal rival, something that must be defeated for the kingdom to function. He doesn't kill it. He exiles it, removes it from any position of power over his choices, the way a king removes a threat from court. Not because the threat is evil, but because it's dangerous to the project. And that requires everything corruption doesn't: discipline, self-awareness, sacrifice. Canute performs surgery on himself with a clear head, knowing exactly what he's removing and why, which produces the contradiction the whole character is built on. To become the king capable of saving everyone, Canute has to banish the person who believed everyone was worth saving. The kingdom needs the ruthless man. Paradise needs the gentle one. He cannot be both, and he chooses, with his eyes open, to be the one that works. And here's the trap he walks into, which he is far too intelligent not to see. Canute wants to end violence, genuinely. It isn't a cover story or self-deception. Every ruthless thing he does is aimed at a world where ruthlessness is no longer necessary. But the tool he's chosen is absolute power, and absolute power maintains itself the only way it can, through the exact thing he's trying to abolish. Every consolidation requires a killing. Every peace he enforces produces the next grievance. He's trying to end the cycle by becoming its most efficient operator, and the story is quietly honest that this doesn't work. It just makes the cycle better organized. He's not a hero, and he's not a villain. He's something more uncomfortable, a man whose solution contains the problem. The closest thing I can compare him to is the Templar position, not the ideal, not villains, not far from the truth, and yet far enough. Order imposed from above, peace guaranteed by control, freedom traded away for safety by people who never agreed to the trade. And I want to be honest here, because I don't think this resolves cleanly. Free will versus peace through control is one of the oldest arguments we have, and I can't fully side with either. Absolute freedom produces the violence Canute is trying to stop. Absolute control produces the violence Canute is. Both positions have their good and their damage, and anyone who tells you it's obvious hasn't sat with it long enough. That's why Canute works as a character. He isn't the wrong answer to the question. He's one of the two answers, taken all the way to the end. Set him beside Thorfinn for a moment, because Vinland Saga builds them as two halves of the same problem. Both men inherit Thor's death. Both want the world he described. No war, no slaves. Both grow up faster than they should, and both are forced into agency they never asked for. Thorfinn goes down into the pit, loses his purpose entirely, becomes nothing, and rebuilds from the bottom. He ends up believing that the only way out of the cycle is to step out of it, personally, and build something small and real somewhere the game isn't played. Canute goes up. He takes the crown and tries to fix the whole board at once. And notice the cost structure. Thorfinn's path is slow, personal, and might save almost no one. Canute's path is fast, total, and might save everyone, but requires him to stop being the person who wanted to. One of them keeps his soul and risks changing nothing. The other changes everything and pays with the part of himself that made him want to. The story refuses to tell you which one was right. That refusal is the point. Canute's tragedy isn't that he became a monster. He didn't. He became effective. He is one of the few characters in this story who actually looks at the world clearly, understands what it would take to fix it, and then does that thing, without flinching, without pretending, without the comfort of believing someone else will handle it. And the cost was the exact part of him that made him want to fix it in the first place. He didn't lose his innocence somewhere along the road. He knew where it was the whole time. He put it in exile so it couldn't interfere. That's the loneliest thing in Vinland Saga. A man ruling a kingdom he built for a version of himself he had to banish in order to build it. He was probably right. That's what makes it a tragedy. Build quietly. Walk your path.